All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, very excited to be talking to an individual set for quite the massive fight at PFL Europe 4, which goes down on December the 13th. And that PFL Featherweight Championship will be contested for in the co-main event as Cris Cyborg and Sara Collins step into the PFL Smart Cage. And great having Sara on Bowks Talking Bouts for the first time. How are you doing, Sara?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, of course. This has to be an exciting moment for you. I mean, I feel like you're kind of getting the fruits of your labor, as it were. Like you cemented yourself as the number one contender over a year ago now, and finally, on the road to this title shot. So I have to imagine you're feeling great about everything.
Yeah, I asked for this fight a year ago, so it's been a long time coming, but I have no excuses to not be prepared. I've been preparing for a year. So yeah, I'm excited that it's finally happening.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got it right in on the timeline. I saw you had a post towards the end of 2024 talking about all the cool things you were able to do and saying 2025 your one goal was that world title. So cool we're able to kind of get it in like last minute there, December 13th, I guess.
Yeah, I was a bit worried that it wasn't going to happen this year, but it's all worked out and it's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. And what kind of like a capstone achievement would this be for you? I mean, championship hardware obviously represents something quite meaningful, but I mean, someone in Cris Cyborg, who many people at the very least see as one of the best fighters of all time, if not the best women's mixed martial artist there's ever been. So, like, just all factors considered, how much would getting your ideal outcome here be like a capstone achievement for you?
I mean, it'd be pretty cool, but I do keep forgetting that it is for a title, and you get a shiny belt at the end. I'm more focused on just fighting Cris, beating her is the goal, and then whatever good things come with that afterwards, is cool. But yeah, at the moment, I'm just focusing on fighting Cris Cyborg.
Yeah, because I feel like she's a figure that has probably loomed large throughout your whole career, like not even just in the sense that you were previously like, fighting in like Bellator and et cetera, and some of these other kind of circuits and whatnot. Like I would think that just a figure like this has always kind of like loomed large in a certain way, like even probably when you debuted in the sport. So something to be said about now being in a position to test skills against them.
Yeah, for sure. When I first started training MMA before I'd even had a fight, my coaches would be like, "Come on, keep moving. We're training to beat Cris Cyborg one day." And I was like, haha, yeah, that's never gonna happen. But turns out here we are, and I did manifest this by accident. And yeah, I'm super excited.
When did that shift kind of happen for you though? Like you talk about it in kind of like a playful way where like at one point you're thinking, I mean, okay, getting ready to fight Cris Cyborg. Like when did the shift kind of settle in for you that like this is a real possibility and everything?
I think when I got booked to fight Leah, because she was meant to fight Cyborg, I was like, well, if I can beat her, then surely I will get the opportunity one day. So yeah, about when I got that fight, that it kind of like was on the horizons in the back of my mind.
Well, in that sense, that had to have been such a massive confidence boost, just the emphatic performance, first round
Mm.
submission, and everything like that. That had to have been a massive moment for you.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I surprised myself. I think I surprised everyone else, but yeah, it's definitely helped with my confidence.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you mentioned like the coaching pieces and stuff like that. It seems like Judo Dan Kelly has been a big influence. And I love seeing that. I've been watching MMA for quite a while and I've always, been a fan of what he's been able to do. So cool that he's kind of paying it forward to the next generation and you're getting to write your own story and everything.
Yeah, well, Daniel was my judo coach before he was my MMA coach. And I've been really lucky to have him in my corner throughout my whole career.
Yeah, I was seeing, I believe it was an MMA Junkie feature talking about how Ronda Rousey served as that inspiration, like the classic judo to MMA connective
Mm.
tissue kind of piece and everything. And it would seem like Dan Kelly would also be a great, influence in that kind of regard, like insofar as bringing that judo piece into MMA.
Yeah, and it was good for me to see him throughout his career, like firsthand. Like I was in the gym with him every day, so just seeing what he did and being able to bring that into my camps was really good. To yeah, he kind of like paved the way for like Australian judokas to break into MMA.
And from that MMA Junkie article I was seeing, it seems to indicate that you were actually at UFC 193, the event where, Holly Holm had that big upset win in Australia and everything. Like, what are your, I guess, recollections of being there for, that card? I mean, such a massive moment in MMA
Mm.
history.
Well, the stadium was so big, you could hardly see anything from where we were sitting. But I was a massive fan of Ronda, so I was very sad that
Mm.
day when she lost. But happy for Daniel because he won that day, so it was all right.
Yeah, he got that dub over Steve Montgomery and everything like
Yeah.
that. Were you already like in the fold training with him a fair bit? It would seem like it based on how you relate it there.
Yeah, I think it was for that fight. I helped him with his weight cut and was starting. That was when I kind of started to get into MMA. So I was still doing a bit of judo, but slowly transitioning to MMA at that point.
And I was seeing that Ronda used your gym a bit in the lead up to that
Mm.
fight. Did you have any cursory interactions with her in the training room at all?
Yeah, she gave me a t-shirt when I saw her in the gym. She was super lovely.
Yeah, and I guess kind of tying like all the factors together because fighting Cris Cyborg here coming up, and one of her only two losses is to Amanda Nunes, who's returning to fight another prolific judoka in Kayla Harrison. I mean, haven't outlined the specifics of that, but what are
Mm.
your thoughts on that Nunes versus Harrison fight they're talking about there?
I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I definitely think Kayla can win, especially Nunes coming off quite a long break. And Kayla is just like hitting her peak at the moment. I think it's a great opportunity and timing for Kayla to really show that she's the best and that judo is the best.
And how cool would it be for you to, like, I mean, speaking of titles and people who have championship accolades, like, how cool would it be to collect the title just even insofar as to kind of like wave the flag for Australia? Like, is there like a partisan kind of piece to this whole fight here and everything?
I mean, I think for just Australian women's MMA in general would be pretty cool. I don't think Australia's had any women who have won a world title. So to be the first, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, because I guess some women have been like in fairly close proximity and stuff like that.
Mm.
Like Megan Anderson, I guess, comes to mind. But yeah, that would be a massive feather in your cap and everything.
Yeah, and Arlene Blanco fought Cyborg twice and wasn't able to get the belt. So to be the first would be pretty cool.
That'd be massive. That'd be a good one to bring through a resilience training center there, kind of show off the hardware and everything like that. I would think that'd be a big moment.
Yeah, that'd be a huge moment for our gym and for my other gym, the ring gym as well. And just, yeah, for all my training partners and just, yeah, all the hard work that goes into it. It'd be nice to have that shiny belt to come home with.
And I guess insofar as like how you're curating your preparations, like are your main training partners replicating a lot of the, I guess, stylistic attributes that Cris Cyborg would be bringing to the table, or is it like the camp more about refining your own skills and bringing your best skills to be adaptable with what happens in the fight more so?
A bit of both. We never worry too much about what my opponent's going to do. It's more what I'm going to do. But yeah, they have been somewhat trying to replicate Cyborg, but I mean, we've just been sparring hard and doing our thing.
And I kind of referenced the, social media piece a bit ago, like just all the cool things you did in 2024 and this being like that big goal for 2025. I would think the logical question would be what's on the list for 2026. I would think that being a defending champion would be kind of within that purview for you there.
Yeah, I'm not looking past this fight at the moment. Let's concentrate on winning this fight and then we'll decide what happens next year afterwards.
Yeah, sure, of course. I mean, you got a bit of a task in front of you, Cris Cyborg. I mean,
Mm.
can't be overlooking anything in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah, nah, not looking past her, not looking at anything other than this fight at the moment.
But just yeah, such a key fight on such a great card and everything like that. That Vadim Nemkov Henan Ferreira fight also
Mm.
looks tremendously intriguing as well on this card.
Yeah, that's going to be a great fight. I mean, most heavyweight fights are pretty good. Someone's going to sleep, so I'm excited to watch that fight as well.
Yeah, no, it's going to be super exciting and just yeah, no, great to see this fight finally come together. I think people who've been following the PFL circuit for a while now have been kind of clamoring for this and everything. But I was kind of talking about the importance of, bringing this title home for Australia and if that was a certain piece for you. I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't get your thoughts on, fellow Australian Jack Della Maddalena's recent title loss to Islam Makhachev at UFC 322. If you happen to, have any thoughts on that, perhaps.
I mean, Jack's still a great fighter. I just didn't think it was his night. It was a hard fight to win that one. But I think Australian MMA at the moment is at its peak. We have so many good males and females in the UFC and PFL and other organizations, and our local scene is booming at the moment. I think that Jack will come back better and stronger, and so will all the rest of Australian MMA.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, any, great fighter experiences loss at some point. I mean, I guess unless you're like Habib Nurmagomedov, but just to say it'd be like the predominant sort of thing. And I'm sure he'll, take away some big lessons from
Mm.
that moment and everything like that. But I guess I'd be curious to get your thoughts on, this being in France and everything. Like, I would think that maybe it's in line with maybe the cyborg kind of question that I talked about before, or rather the 2026 like subsequent focuses. Like maybe you're just so blinders on for this one, but is there some peripheral kind of enjoyable aspect to getting to, go to France and have that, travel piece for this one, even though it is ultimately a business trip?
Yeah, I mean, afterwards, I'm going to go on a holiday through Europe um, because it's so far from Australia. So while I'm over there, I may as well make the most of it. But it is going to be freezing. We'll be entering summer and Europe is entering winter. So that I'm not too excited about. But yeah, I love going to Europe. My last couple of fights have been in Europe and it's worked out well for me. So yeah, Europe's great.
Whereabouts are you going to be going on that jaunt after the fight there?
We haven't locked in anything yet, but I think Switzerland's not far, so we might head over to Switzerland, Germany, and then my partner, his grandparents live in Ireland, so we'll go to Ireland for Christmas and then come home.
Oh, it sounds incredible. So it sounds like you're like ending off the year over there and then coming back to Australia in 2026, maybe? Is that kind of the layout there?
Almost. I think we arrived like New Year's Eve back home.
Oh, well, that's great. That sounds like a great way to kind of dovetail the story for the calendar year and stuff like that. And yeah, no, that's awesome. I guess like this would probably be in like a similar vein too, but I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't ask it all the same. Do you have a particular visualization for how you see this fight playing out? I know certain fighters get really heavy into the visualization piece and then kind of have a predominant one kind of within that set of visualizations. Is that something you find yourself doing with this particular fight, or maybe not so much?
Not so much. I feel like it gives me anxiety when I visualize too much, but I do think that we're both going to come hard and fast, and it's not going to go further than 1 or 2 rounds. And either way, one of us is going to win.
No, it's such an incredible fight, and I really do appreciate you making the time to come on Bowks Talking Bouts before this Cyborg fight here, Sarah. But I figured I'd also give you the floor in case you maybe had any final parting thought you did want to add as we're kind of wrapping things up here.
Not really. Just make sure you tune in to watch me finally fight Cyborg after a year of waiting. I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I'm super stoked for this one. PFL Europe 4 looking like a great card overall, and this featherweight championship fight fits very nicely within that. December 13th, people can check that one out when Cris Cyborg and Sara Collins step into the PFL Smart Cage. But again, to reiterate, Sarah, thanks so much for coming on Bouts Talking Bouts tonight. You have a good remaining part of your training preparations, and yeah, stoked to check out the fight. But until then, you have a good rest of your day, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.